away.
It doesn't.
We're blocking Carson.
If I go this way.
If I go this way.
If I go this way.
Let's sit this way, and you can see everything.
Oh, it's better this way. Yeah, it's much better this way. We should
So I'm gonna sit like this.
If we would put the camera up like that, then
Right.
it goes,
If the camera was up here,
Yeah,
coming
close.
down like this, then you could go like
and then hold it this
right.
way.
Yeah. So instead, you just have to go.
Wait, can I take my shoes off?
Don't think for a second that that's not making it to the internet. Hello and welcome to what are we calling this? Interviews with the Artistic Biker Live.
There we go. Perfect.
So I'm interviewing my friend Gina Zhidov. Gina Zhidov is a photographer, and she's an amazing photographer. She has a natural gift for seeing the light and seeing the lighter side of things, and she's really, really good. You can see a sample of her works in the background here, and we'll throw some other samples of her work in the video. But she's really, really good. And what she has is she has a studio in Chickasha, Oklahoma, where she not only takes pictures of cool things and sells them on the internet, but she teaches other people to take pictures of things and sell them on the internet. So she's got a really cool art scene here, and we hit her up about telling us a little bit about it. So,
Excellent.
my friend Gina Zhidov.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a list of questions because we're new at this. And they're very generic questions, and hopefully it's going to spark a lot of conversation. We'll just start there. When did you realize you were an artist?
I would say when my photography started affecting people. I've had clients cry because they didn't know they could look that way. They didn't know they got to see themselves in a completely different light, in a completely different way. And then I've also had other artists, which is I think a huge compliment, get inspired by my photography.
Mm-hmm.
They, have created their own works of art based off of one of my photographs, and that's awesome.
Inspiring others. That's the whole purpose of the
Yes.
Artistic Biker Live, and it's a great feeling when you get to do it.
Yes.
So what has been your biggest help along the way?
The biggest help. Basically, I like to learn.
Okay.
And I feel that I'm pretty good at researching and problem solving, and that's helped me. I know how to learn. That's a big thing. If you can love learning, but if you know how to learn and how to research and get it and find that information quickly that you need, because time is money. You know what I'm saying? So that's been my biggest help, is that I have that skill.
And applying that learning.
Applying it, exactly.
That's the kicker. Most people learn stuff and they're like, oh, well, I know that now.
Right.
So-
And making connection. I'm really good at making connections. I keep things stored up here, and it comes along, I'm like, oh wow, I can, use that, or I can, I need to call this person or whatever. But yeah, making connections to get something done.
Right, like that one time you see that one photograph of the material floating across the pool, and you think,
Right.
hey, I've got that stored up here, and then you see an opportunity to show it. You can see it behind her, and then there's an opportunity where it presents itself in front of you. You're prepared.
Right, you're
That
prepared.
connection
Exactly.
is made.
Right.
And it could be
Perfect.
It could be tomorrow. It could be 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You saw that ladybug walking across that wet stone, and here's
Right.
a tractor trailer going across the snow, and you've got the same thing in your head. So you've made that connection
Exactly.
to make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
So what has been your biggest struggle?
Getting out of my own way. I'm kind of all over the place emotionally when it comes to my photography, and especially the studio. I'll feel strong and I'll feel confident. I'm like, yeah, man, I can do this. This is good. I'm going to make this work, and then literally turn right around and be like, full of self-doubt. And I don't know if that's just being a creative person, and you just feel like you need to drink. But that's my big is getting out of my own way and allowing it to happen, instead of just trying to, take myself out. I have a tendency to take myself out, and so I'm working really hard on controlling that.
I've been doing that through the last couple of weeks. I think Maximumble is the one has a comic strip out where the artist is sitting there and she's working at the table, and she's like, well, this is a good idea. wait a minute, what have I done?
See?
Oh my God, this sucks. I'm a terrible artist.
Right.
And she's got the bottle of whiskey that's laying over. I'm a terrible artist. And then the next morning she's like, hey, that's not so bad.
Exactly. Hey, that's no joke. That's exactly it, 110%. In fact, when I do a photo shoot, I've noticed that I don't look at the photos right after a photo shoot. I've learned I shouldn't. And in fact, it's better if I wait till the next day.
Right.
And then I'll sit down and okay, now let's look at this. Either it's with fresh eyes or, you don't have as much projected expectation on that, whatever it is. But if I look at my photos right after a photo shoot, I'm like, I could have done that better. This could, And I'm like, okay, enough of that. So I literally will wait until the next day.
Cool. Okay, speaking of ways, my way, Elvis or Sinatra?
Definitely Sinatra, 110%.
It's got to be Sinatra.
I mean, come on.
My dad is Elvis, but I'm taking this will be an ongoing poem. My dad is all about the Elvis, but man, Sinatra.
Yeah. If I could only be as cool. I'm serious.
You may be cool.
The whole Rat Pack thing. I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to that whole. I love how I have my favorite video. It's of Johnny Carson, and he did an interview. And Dean Martin walks out. Of course, he's a little inebriated, and he's smoking cigarettes. And I don't know. I just love that whole scene. And the Rat Pack.
Is that the one where he's flicking ashes?
Yes!
The guy's sitting there
and
interviewing,
George
he's flicking drinks, he's flicking ashes
Gold
on drink. Yeah.
is the funniest of all because he's got Bob Hope, Dean Martin, and then George and Johnny Carson. I mean, that was some heavy scene.
I don't even know how you sit on that thing.
Right. Exactly. And George goes, did you ever feel like the world's a tuxedo and you're a pair of brown shoes?
Exactly.
So there you go.
That's awesome interview.
Yep.
Okay, technique. What is your go-to technique?
I grab my 50 millimeter lens, my nifty 50, and I shoot 2.8. And that's it.
Okay, break that down for people who are not photographers.
Well, I mean, it's a fixed lens, so that means I'm the zoom. Okay, so if I want to come in close, I move my body closer. If I want to pull back, then I have to pull back. There's no telephoto lens. There's no zoom in it. I'm the zoom. And a 50 millimeter is an excellent portrait lens. It's got a lot. It's just really good glass and the lens. And when you shoot on 2.8, that's what creates a lot of times that beautiful creamy bokeh, the blurry background. You might see the little light balls and stuff if you shoot at lights and things like that. That's what 2.8 does. It lets in a lot of light. It opens up that lens as big as it can get, just like your eyeball. So it kind of gets real big.
So it allows you, by moving forward and back, you're actually the focus. You're not just the
That's
zoom.
Right.
You're not actually just the zoom. You're the focus.
You're the focus.
So when you move forward to zoom in, it automatically blurs out the background.
That's
because
right.
its focal point is only at that one
Exactly.
spot.
And when you shoot at 2.8, your depth of field, your focus, it'll fall off real quick. So that allows for your background to just kind of blur away. So
awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to put that in my book this week. Okay. How do you deal with white canvas syndrome? Do you know what white canvas syndrome is? Because in photography, it's different than walking up to a blank canvas.
Right. Well, I kind of, when I was thinking of that, and I think that's I think that needs to be on a T-shirt. White canvas syndrome. I think that's brilliant right there. The way I took that was. If you don't have any creativity, you're kind of like you don't know what to put on there. You're stumped. You've got writer's block.
Right, it's a brand new roll of film, and you don't know what to shoot.
You just don't know what to do. And I've been going through that. I would say for several months now. But with having the studio and setting it up and the expense and trying to keep the doors open, I've been really worried a lot. And that has totally squished my creativity completely. Until probably about a month ago now, I opened up upstairs to 5 local photographers and some models and said, okay, see what you can get, see what you can do. And one of the photographers, Joe Donnelly, caught the most awesome photo of Amber, the model Amber, floating over the bathtub. And he did it just with a simple stool, put her on there, and then masked out the stool in Photoshop. phenomenal.
I was going to ask you.
That's how he did it.
Did she jump?
Yeah, she was, it was brilliant how he did it, but he saw it, and he was able to see that because, he wasn't thinking about anything else. He wasn't worried about anything else. He could just take that photo. That's why he was able to see it. And when he took it, I thought, man, I really should have seen that too. I should have seen something like that. That's pretty cool. And so I actually got onto myself and said, wow, Gina, you need to kind of step back. So now what I'm doing is I just pretend, and we'll see if this works, but I'm pretending that everything's good. And the studio is making it, and it's already made it, and it's just fantastic. And I will say, since I released that, I'm actually getting work.
Good deal.
So who knows?
Good deal. So like in drawing and painting, it's not just making a mark on a paper, but it's at least making a mark on a paper.
Right. You have to pick up your camera. You have to pick up your paintbrush.
It's not just point and click, but it's at least point and click. You
have
to start
you have to at least. And I say that to my students, that the biggest thing that you can do, and you have to do it, is you have to pick up your camera daily. You have got to just, even if you pick up your camera for 10 minutes and go take a photo. But the worst thing you can do is not pick up your camera.
Okay. Well, it happens to everyone now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Failure. How do you address failure?
Well,
and what is failure?
Well,
that's a bigger question.
I
try
to look at failure as unmet expectations. Okay. And so it's everybody. I mean, especially if you're going to be a creative and you're going to try to do this, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to fail. But I look at it as learning experience, a chance to growth. Okay, how can I do this better? Let me learn from it. What did I do wrong, but what did I do right? And then just draw from that and pull from it, for the next project.
That's a whole lot better than me. I lie naked on the floor with a bottle of Sailor Jerry's. And Sailor Jerry's, if you're watching, call me. All right. So, what is your greatest artistic success so far?
I found this to be the hardest question. You're as good as your last project.
Okay.
So I just keep trying to do projects.
Oh no, there's that one. You're not copping out on this.
No, really.
There's always that one that you're like, I wish they all turned out just like this.
Oh,
so
well,
beautiful.
this one behind us. This is literally one of my favorite ever. And I don't know if
I like the ginger.
Yeah, yes, Carson is. And this was done with natural light. This was done with natural light down here.
That's a great shot. It really is.
And this, of course, was outside. But this is a guy that I follow, a photographer. His name is Herb Ritz. And he's passed away now, but during his short time on this earth, he really made a huge impact on so many people. And he just, his art is amazing. His eye and what he was able to do and how he was able to see form and shape and it is amazing stuff. And so when I did this photo, I got one click because she was going down into the water. So I got one chance, one click, and I snapped that. And it is, for me, I feel like it's definitely a Herb Ritz inspired image, and I'm very proud of this image. So I would say if you want a success, here you go.
So tell us the story about that real quick, because your story is awesome on that.
Well,
the chance favors the prepared mind is the lesson.
110%. I had studied. I've studied Herb Ritz for a very long time now, almost 6 years, 6 or 7 years. I've really studied his work. So all that was in here somewhere. And I originally on this shoot, this was not my shoot. This was another photographer's shoot. He's a local photographer here in town. His name is Johnny Trammell.
Great guy.
And yeah, he is. He's a really good guy. And this is out at his pool because they do pools. They put pools in for people. And so he had an underwater camera, and he wanted to test out his camera. So I went along to be the stylist on this shoot. And but I took my camera, and I always take my camera, and that's the biggest thing is it travels with me in my Jeep. If I'm going to the store, I take my camera. Because you never know, you're going to be driving along and you just see that moment and you go, well, if I only yes, and if I only had my camera, you know what I'm saying? And I do use my cell phone a lot. I pull my cell phone out and I don't have any problem with people using their cell phones to take photos. I love the concept of iPhoneography. I think that's fantastic. It's just another way of getting the shot. So I think that's beautiful. But I had taken 15 feet of this black fabric that I had probably 5 years from doing a shoot with one of my friends and model, Andrea Jones, and where we had designed her to look like a tornado. And those shots came out fantastic. It was a brutal photo shoot, though.
Where are they? Because she's gorgeous.
I don't have them up here, but yes, Andrea is gorgeous. And so I had this fabric. We took it out. Johnny is already in the pool getting ready, and we had her. This is Emma Rose. She's a model that I love to use. She's a local USAO art student. I'm sorry. She was a USAO student, not an art student. Sorry. She'll kill me on that. I love using her, and we worked together really well before. And so I had her backing off down the stairs into the water. I had draped the 15 feet of fabric right around her middle section and brought it up and draped it around, and I was feeding her this fabric. And when she got off in the water, and I saw this right here, this shape, and I said, "Oh my God, Emma Rose," I said, "give me that Vogue look." And she knew what I meant because she'd worked with me before, and she just nailed it. She just, I love her for that. And I just reached over and picked up my camera and took this one shot, and then she went on down into the water. And there you go. That's how that happened.
So like we were saying earlier, you make that connection. You just make that connection. Mm-hmm. So that was all of my questions. Did you have anything you wanted to tell us about?
Just about an upcoming photography class that's happening starting April 21st.
Okay.
But I'm real excited about this. I'm going to do some different stuff. I've taken a lot of photography classes. I really have. And this is going to be a beginning photography class. And the thing with it is that a lot of times, by the time you get to the point where you can actually teach somebody something, you forget what it's like to be at the very beginning, and that you just want to know how to use your camera. I mean, there's so many things, and you feel overwhelmed. So by putting this course together, it has helped me reflect back to when I was first starting out, and what did I want to know, and what was I struggling with, and so that's how I've shaped this beginning photography class. It's pulled me back to the very beginning, which I love that whole thing. And so hopefully I'll be able to, it's broken down step by step, really understanding just the simple how to get out of auto and get into manual so that you can make those kind of images that I know you want to make. But you have to get out of auto. You have to be able to do the creative stuff. So.
But I don't know that this will help with your 21st.
Right,
class,
right.
But they're probably going to be on. This is probably going to be an ongoing thing. We'll post the links for that in the description below. So if you're interested, if you're around South Central Oklahoma, or if you're willing to drive long distances to South Central Oklahoma, I can highly recommend. Gina puts on a very laid back. This is a very laid back scene, and there's a lot to learn here.
Right.
So Gina, thank you so much.
Thank you,
for your
really.
time with
Thank
us.
you for the opportunity.
And guys, thank you for watching, and I look forward to doing many more.